Hey guys, Andy here, and I'm here to bring you all things mundane and makeup related. If that's your vibe, I'd love if you would subscribe to be part of my little slice of the internet. And in today's video, we have another tag video. It is the horror movie tag. This is my first spookier look of the season, and you're seeing this on today that is my birthday. So if you want to hear all of my answers to these questions, let's go ahead and get on into it. So, just a little background. This was created by Kayla M Makeup. I will have her listed in the description box. Today is my birthday. I turned 30 today, so very special. I love horror movies so very much. It's kind of spooky season's my thing. I love it. I love all things spooky, all things horror movie, all things everything, which is why I wanted to do this video specifically for my birthday. This is my first spookier look for the season. Yep. It's not too crazy, but you know, we're wearing a Nightmare Before Christmas shirt. It says Creepy Crew down here, but it's got the characters on it. It's spooky. It's long sleeves, you know. Greens are creepy. Green lipstick, creepy. We're getting there. But there's 22 questions, and we're gonna get into it. So, your first horror movie that you ever saw, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I was 5, and it was the 2003, I think is when it came out. We had it on DVD. I just put it in the DVD player. My parents didn't really regulate movies, music, any of that, TV shows. They didn't care if it was rated R or if it was explicit music. Like, they didn't regulate me listening or watching that. So I loved that movie, and that sparked my love for horror, was watching that. I know that movie by heart. Last horror movie you saw in theaters. I don't go to the theater very often. It's expensive, and the last few movies I've seen in theaters have just been very disappointing. The last horror movie I went and saw was Saw 7, the last chapter. It was extremely disappointing, and I love the Saw movies, but I'm not a fan of seeing movies in theaters. I just don't think they're worth the money, personally. Your favorite classic horror movie. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I had to look up what classic horror movies were, because, being a classic movie is a very specific niche. But after I looked up what those were, Carrie. I love that movie. The remake was good. I did like the remake. Not all remakes are good, but the original movie, obviously, is what the classic is, and it's a very good movie. If you haven't seen any of the movies that I'm going to talk about today, by the way, as a little disclaimer, I'm going to try to not really spoil anything for these movies, but if I do say any spoilers, so sorry. But also, if you haven't seen any of these movies, I highly recommend them. A horror movie you thought you'd love, but you hated instead. Hereditary. I'm going to say it again for the people who love that movie in the back. Hereditary. I have watched it 3 times because I have my friends had friends. They're not friends now. Not because of this movie. But I had friends that were like, I love this movie. Please watch it with me. I've seen that movie 3 times, and I do not like it. I do not think it's a good movie. I do not think it was composed well. It's not a good movie. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you like that movie. I don't. Your favorite horror movie remake. The Rob Zombie Halloween movies. Chef's kiss. Granted, the original Halloween movies are good. The Halloween remakes that they've done now are good, but specifically the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, so good. So good. Your favorite vampire movie. I'm not a huge vampire movie fan, but Blade. Blade is a chef's kiss. And I've actually seen all of those. I will give you another little tidbit of info about me. I have not seen a lot of movies, to be honest. Like, if you were to come at me and be like, hey, have you seen this movie? Probably not. Have you watched this TV show? Probably not. Do you know who this actor is? Unless you show me a photo, and even then, probably not. Like, I'm gonna hurt some people's feelings right now. I've never seen, like, The Goonies. I've never seen The Sandlot. Like, I've never seen a bunch of cult classic movies. I've never seen a bunch of recent movies. Like, I'm not a movie watcher. I'm not a reader. It's a problem. I understand that. Horror movie you've seen that you think no one else has seen. Bloody Mary, The Urban Legends, that came out in 2005. It's a very specific Bloody Mary movie. Please go look that one up, because there's been a whole bunch of Bloody Mary movies, but that one specifically is a very good movie. Highly recommend. Very good movie. Your favorite foreign horror movie. I also had to look up what is considered a foreign horror movie, because, like, Shudder. Shudder was considered a foreign horror movie. It was fine. Listen, I had to really scroll on the list of foreign horror movies to find one that I had even seen. So though I don't love that movie, it was the only one I had seen, okay? We're gonna move on. Your favorite supernatural horror movie. I have so many. I love supernatural spooky. Like, if it's not blood, guts, and gore, then I want supernatural. Like, those are my two things. So I put The Conjuring, because, like, they're so spooky. I love them. Horror movie everyone loves, but you don't. I hate World War Z. I love zombie movies. I love apocalyptic, end of the world. Okay, I don't love end of the world movies. We're not going to talk about that, but I love, like, apocalyptic zombie movies. But World War Z is trash. Like, the zombies in that movie, trash. So I'm so sorry. Your favorite comedy horror movie. Now listen, I am not a fan of comedy movies. I don't like a good laugh. I don't know why. Maybe that's trauma. I specifically don't like comedy horror movies. I don't want your funny bits in my spooky movie. Like, that's something, it pisses me off greatly. And again, I don't know why. Maybe that's something like repressed trauma. But I don't want your funny in my spooky. But I love Shaun of the Dead. I love that. Love that movie so much. Most disturbing horror movie. Listen, and this also, I will explain. Grave Encounters 1 and 2, those horror movies. So there's something about found footage that, like, first of all, they did it correctly. Like, they actually made it feel like... Sorry, I got a message about one of my Mercari orders. If you want to see some of the makeup I'm selling, someone's listening in the description box. But they did found footage that actually feels like it was a person filming. So it just makes it feel more amateur, more real, even though, like, obviously it's fake. I don't know why this is a fear of mine, but I have a very, like, visceral reaction to, like, in horror movies, when you have a monster that, like, their jaw gets really, 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 really big. And they have a monster specifically in Grave Encounters that does that, and, like, I will have nightmares. That is one thing that gives me nightmares from horror movies. So, like, it's a disturbing thing for me. I don't like it. Your favorite zombie movie? Specifically the first 3 Resident Evil movies. Love those. Resident Evil obviously is a great zombie movie. 2 and 3 are my favorite. Like, 1 takes a minute, like, to get there, but, like, the first 3, like, the original trilogy, because I have that on DVD, is fantastic. Your favorite indie horror movie? Again, I had to look up what is considered an indie horror movie. Like, I know what indie means, but, like, what movies have come out that I've seen that would be considered an indie horror movie? Sinister is apparently considered an indie horror movie. And I love that movie. I've seen it several times, and every time it still spooks me. Sinister is a really good horror movie. Your favorite monster horror movie? It. Pennywise is terrifying as a monster, but now I love both. I love the original with Tim Curry. He is absolutely fantastic, obviously. But the remake? So scary. So scary for a remake. It was so good. A horror film with a great soundtrack. Halloween, like the most recent remakes, those have such good soundtracks. Love them. Favorite 80s horror movie? Again, I had to look up what movies that I've watched that came out in the 80s. I had to do a lot of research for this tag, which I normally don't have to do. Hellraiser. Love Hellraiser. Very good movie. That came out in the 80s. Like, I knew that movie was old, but I wouldn't have thought it came out in the 80s, personally, because, like, I came out. I digress. I was born in the 90s. I would have thought it was a 90s movie, but no, it came out in the 80s. Favorite black and white horror movie? I mean, horror... It's more of just a spooky movie. I stretched this one. But Young Frankenstein. It's my favorite black and white movie ever. So, fight me. Best use of gore. Hostel. Nobody talks about Hostel, but it is so gory, but so good. We haven't had a Hostel movie in years, and I would love a new one. With, like, because, like, our graphics that we use for movies now are so much better. I'd love a new Hostel movie. Or just, like, a remake of, like, the first one with the new graphics. Favorite horror movie character? John Kramer from Saw. If you have not seen the Saw movies, listen. Go back in my channel. Well, watch them first. At least the first 4. That's what you need to watch, because those are the best, is the first 4. Because Saw is my favorite horror movie franchise. I love it dearly. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my second. Well, because the next question is best horror movie franchise. And best is more a favorite. I'd say my answer was Saw. But Saw and Texas Chainsaw Massacre are my 2 favorite, bestest, loved horror movie franchises. I have seen all of the movies. If you have not seen them, please go watch them. There are like a bajillion movies. Because Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's just remakes. Like, some of them add a little bit of different things. There was a remake recently. I think it was 2023 on Netflix. Like, it was a Netflix remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That is the first one that I've seen that, like, really took the movie in a different direction. It was actually really good. But Saw, I don't really love where it's going. Like, it could be done. It could have been done a long time ago. As much as I love the franchise, it cash grab. Best death scene. This is like the only thing that's really a spoiler. And I'm not even going to say much. The angel trap from Saw. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can Google it on YouTube if you want to. If you do know what I'm talking about, it's so good. It's one of the best death scenes in the entire franchise of Saw. But that is all I will say. You can fight me in the comments down below if you think my answers are bullspit. But otherwise, let me know, what would be your answers to these questions? I'd love to know. Give me horror, spooky theme recommendations, because I'd love to watch more movies this spooky season. And that is going to do it for today's video. I appreciate you being here with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys!